You know we had to talk about it. Recapping the drama and reviewing the chaos, one episode at a time. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video of reality recap and reviews with Pam Unfiltered. This is Love Island Season 8. Let me correct myself. Love Island USA Season 8, Episode 25. The episode we've all been waiting for, y'all. Movie night is here, but before we break down movie night, let's talk about the things that happened prior. Y'all, I'm going to hope and pray that this video doesn't go past 45 minutes because it was a lot. I have my notes here and I'm going to refer to them a lot more than I normally would because, again, there was a lot going on. So let's get started. So the episode opens up after the conversation between Aniyah and KC. KC goes up to TT. She checks on him. She says, how was the conversation with him and Aniyah? He said it went okay. He apologized for her. He never wanted to hurt her. He never wanted, he never wanted to hurt her and hurt her feelings. He said, but I'm glad that she found someone else. And she says, well, are you going to explore her again? He says, absolutely not. And she's happy with that. But then TT goes in and says, well, that Trinity and Bryce are now together as a real life couple, boyfriend and girlfriend. She hopes in a month or two that they can be there. TT, slow down. Slow down. You and Casey have only known each other for about a week and a half. Enjoy each other, get to know each other, and date. Why are you rushing the boyfriend and girlfriend thing? I will never understand a girl who wants to be in a relationship so fast. Get to know the person, enjoy each other, and then eventually it'll happen. I'm not saying wait in 2 years before he could say that, but why are you rushing after 2 months? I had a friend like that. I thought that was really weird. Like after she's like, well, how come he ain't make me his girlfriend yet? You've only been talking to him for a month. Why are you that doesn't make sense. Why are you rushing that? And what happened? He ghosted her because she was pressuring him. So relax, enjoy each other. Just be in the moment. Stop rushing things that don't need to be rushed. So after that, we get Carl and Aniyah in Say Less. And Carl is kind of trying to not necessarily lighten the mood, but he's trying to start off the conversation light before he gets into the heavy stuff. So he's like, oh, if you were financially free, what would you be doing? She says in the woods with a cabin or traveling. I understand that because for me, if I was financially free, I would be building my family compound. And then I will also be traveling with my children, my adoptive children, because I'm at an age maybe I can't have children. But that's what I would be doing. So I was here for her answer. She asked, what about him? He said he would be dancing for Meg Thee Stallion. Okay, whatever you say, Carl, whatever you say. So then he goes into what he really wants to ask, and he's like, well, how's the conversation with you and KC? She's like, oh, the conversation went well. He apologized for the things that he's done to me. I do not like that she said that. What did he do to you? Explain to me, what did he do to you at this very moment? All she has seen is the picture from the envelope and some of his reactions during the heart rate challenge. And he did not do anything different than the other men. Explain to me, what did he do? Do you mean disrespected you because he chose TT over you? Because even when you guys were cursing him out during the recoupling, he didn't say anything disrespectful to you. So what are you talking about, Aniyah? Aniyah likes to play this victim card, and I don't understand why. You two were open to explore. He explored someone. He found someone better. Get over it. You found someone better in Carl. Making statements like that is ridiculous. So after that, Carl asked, he said, well, how do you feel about us? She said, I feel really good. I'm really, enjoying this. And he's glad because he feels the same way. These two start to make out. She sits on top of him. We get her confession was like, oof, girl. Ooh, I was straddling him and I could have fucked him right there and Say Less. See, she doesn't know this now. But when KC, even actually in the villa, when he was having a conversation with Corbin, and he was like, she doesn't give me any affection. This is what this is it. This is why he's frustrated. Oh my God. I can't believe I fucked that up. Oh my God. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video of reality recaps and reviews with Pam Unfiltered. This is Love Island USA, Season 8, Episode 25, Movie Night. It's movie nights, what we all been waiting for. And let me tell you something, this episode did not disappoint, and it was a lot. So I'm going to be looking at my notes, even though I should put my notes here, but my notes are there. So I'm going to be referring to those a lot. So forgive me, but I want to make sure I point out as much as I can during movie night. But before we get into movie night, let's recap on some of the things that happened the night before. So the night before movie night. So obviously the episode opens up after the conversation between Aniyah and KC. KC goes to TT and she's like, what, how was your conversation with Aniyah? And he says it went okay. He apologized for the things that he did. Again, I don't know what he's apologizing for. It's very, very odd. And I don't care what any of you Aniyah stands say. These two are open to explore, and that's exactly what he did. At this moment in time, Aniyah has no clue what he said during Casa. So what is he apologizing for? So TT says, okay, is this chapter closed? This chapter is closed, and he's moving on with TT. He has a better connection with TT. Then Tierra proceeds to bring up Bryce and Trinity's coupling, that they're now boyfriend and girlfriend, in hopes that him and her can be there in 2 months. TT, relax. You've only known KC for what? A week and a half, maybe? Why are you rushing that status? You should be in the villa, enjoying Fiji, enjoying KC, getting to know each other more. Once you guys go out, see how you guys move in real life. And then maybe eventually down the line, that's when you guys will become boyfriend and girlfriend. Stop rushing stuff like that. It's really unnecessary. For what? A title? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so after that, we get Carl and we get Aniyah in Say Less. Carl is kind of like asking her random questions before he gets into what he really wants to ask her. He goes, so, if you were financially free, he said, what would you be doing? And she says, I'll probably be in the woods, in the cabin, or traveling, which I can understand because, baby, I want my family to have a family compound away from a lot of these people in this world. Okay. I would do that if it's going to happen. Right. But being financially free, it'll happen quicker. Okay. And I also would be traveling with my children. So that's what I would be doing if I was financially free. So then she goes, what about you? He says, I'll be dancing, dancing for Meg Thee Stallion. He can't believe he missed his opportunity to dance for her. That's what you want to do? Financially free? Okay. All right, whatever. So then he asked her the real question. He said, so how's the conversation between you and KC? She's like, it went well. He apologized for the things he's done to me. I'm like, what did he do to her? Am I missing something? Because what did this man do to her? What did he do to her? From what she's seen in Casa, he has done nothing. Nothing outside of any of what the other guys did. She saw a picture of him kissing KC. Guess what he saw? On his end, you kissing Carl. So again, what is KC apologizing for? Aniyah's playing a victim. I don't know why. You're just mad because you assumed that your story was going to be like Melanie and Sincere's and Kayda and Zach's, and it was not. Surprise. And the night before Casa, didn't you tell him to do whatever he wants? You don't care? So why are you mad? Why are you mad? Why are you upset? And why does he have to apologize? Right. So, anyway, so then he asked her, how do you feel about them? And she says, I feel really good. She's glad that she's there with him and getting to know him. She says, what about you? He feels the same way. And they start making out. She climbs on top of him. They having a real good, nice kiss. And then they cut to her in her confessionals. And she's like, oh my God, I would have fucked him right then and there. Aniyah. Even though I don't think KC expressed these things to her, this is a reason why he was frustrated. And I hope after movie night, she understands that. But then again, that's not even really her job. That was his job to express that to her. So after that, we get a conversation with Jen, Parmita, Corbin, and Jessica Alba. And they're like, so what's going on with you and Gal? To Jen. She's like, well, we're not compatible. I told him, you know what, we're done. And they're like, whoa, what's going on? Corbin was like, you know what? I'm going to step back. And he was like, I'm going to let y'all have girl talk. And he walks away. So like, all right, so break it down. And she's like, well, we were having a conversation up there. You know, I was telling him like, these are the things that I like. He did not accept it. And it was just like, he felt that I was preventing him from talking to the other girls. What girls? He's talking about Kenzie. And they're like, yeah. And she's like, you know what? I think he's just a pussy ass bitch. I was like, clock it, Jen, clock it. And she was like, I'm not holding him back from anything, right? So then here comes Jessica Alba. She's expressing herself about Caleb. She's like, well, I don't know about Caleb. You know, he's not aggressive enough, pretty much. He's not aggressive enough. She's really like, I guess she doesn't like the slowness, the slowness of the progress of their relationship, and she doesn't want to hurt his feelings because she really does think he's a sweet guy, which he is. She's just she doesn't know. She doesn't want to hurt his feelings. Let me tell you something about young girls. When it comes to young girls, do not appreciate guys like Caleb in the beginning, right? Because they want that bad boy. But then as they continue to mess with bad boys into their 20s, bad boys into their 30s, and then when they get a certain age, you're looking for Caleb when Caleb was in their face in their 20s. That always, always, always happen. When it's time for you want to settle down, get married, and have kids, you're looking for that Caleb. You seen the Caleb, you experienced the Caleb early on, but that wasn't for you. Now you're looking for the Caleb in your 30s and you can't find him. So after that, we get a conversation with Kenzie and Dylan. Obviously, Kenzie is coming back from the speakeasy with Gall and kissing him and stuff like that. So she sits down with Dylan to let him know that she had a conversation with Gall, but then Gall made the move to kiss her. So this is how it goes, right? She goes, so I just want to let you know, I wanted to, have a chat with Gall. And, I'm a touchy-feely person. So, I was touching his hands. And during the conversation, I just want to let you know that we kissed. And Dylan looked heartbroken, which is weird to me because you guys have been a couple for more than a week and a half. So he's emotional. He's asking her. He's like, well, did you lean in to kiss? She's like, no. He said, well, was it a kiss or was it a make out? She's like, we were making out. And he's like, he's hurt. And he doesn't understand why she would go and kiss Gall when he's here in a couple with her and he's putting all effort into her and he wants to be with her. Kenzie looks so dumbfounded. She looks so stupid. And you could tell she's getting an ick from him for being emotional. This man starts to cry, y'all. She said, oh, I didn't know you were going to react like that or react like that to what's going on. She holds him, but her face is like, they part ways. She goes wherever she goes. She says she feels sad because she didn't know he would react that way. And it tells her or convinces her of how much she likes Dylan. Kenzie, cut the shit. Cut the shit. You don't like none of these men. You like the attention. See, Kenzie in the beginning, we've seen a lot of her, and then eventually it starts to die off. You don't see of her too much because her stories are not authentic. It's not like she's really truly finding a connection. She's just looking for attention. So as Dylan is walking away, Kayda sees him and all emotional. She's like, "Oh, hey, Dylan, what's going on? Are you all right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then Zach and him had a conversation prior to what went down with Gall and Kenzie and his concerns that she wanted to pursue Gall or explore Gall. So he's like, oh yeah, I just had a conversation with Kenzie and she made out with Gall. And Zach's like, oh, she made out with him? And then he starts to cry and he's like, I'm sorry. And Kayda's like, oh, you don't have to apologize. You really like her. All this other nonsense. Let me tell you something. Like I said, when he was talking all that shit about Aniyah needs to earn Carl back, no, you don't need to be saying nothing like that. What you should have worried about was Gall sneaking into your woman. That's what you should have been worrying about. And no offense, I have no empathy for him crying because I no offense, I would, if I was Kenzie, I would have got the ick. I'm like, oh my God, you only been here for like a week and a half. Like, I understand you put effort in me, but is it really at that point that you need to be crying? like, nope. So, after that conversation, we get Aniyah pulling Sincere and pretty much explaining to him about her feelings for Carl, and she's really excited about their couple. And obviously, Sincere is happy for her. But then Sincere goes into the conversation. He goes into the conversation, sorry y'all, that Melanie, or I should say, he talks to Aniyah about a conversation that Melanie and Amora had, and he needs to ask Melanie how the conversation went. But he did, yeah. I'm right. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about episode 24. So yeah, he said he saw that they had the conversation. He needs to know what was said in the conversation. And that he wants to focus on Melanie. He says that all the time, and then he gets sidetracked. Nobody cares anymore. So then everybody's getting ready for bed. TT is happy again that Casey spoke to Aniyah. Dylan is still upset about Kenzie kissing Gaul. Mind you, when the lights turn out, he's making out with Kenzie. You're not that upset. Caleb is asking, I forgot who Caleb is asking. I think Caleb was asking Trinity. He was asking what's French frying. Everybody doesn't know that term at all. And apparently it's, I'm to give you the idea. So that's what's going on. So then we get the morning. Carl gets up early because he said he has to make 2 breakfasts. I don't know why you need to get up early to make 2 breakfasts. You can just do them at the same time, but okay. Dylan is still upset the fact that Kenzie kissed Gaul again, but you were making out with her in the bed at night. Right. So now we get a conversation with Kenzie and Aniyah. Kenzie lets Aniyah know that she made out with Gaul in Speakeasy. She told Dylan what happened, and she couldn't believe how emotional Dylan was, but it proved to her that it ignited a spark in her, that Dylan cared about her so much. Again, it has nothing to do with really liking him. She just likes the back and forth between 2 men. We have to be very honest here. So now we get a conversation with Carl and Gaul. Gaul tells Carl that him and Jen are no longer together, and that he really likes Kenzie. He says that, she pulled me for a chat in the Speakeasy, and they made out. But he knows that Kenzie really is interested in Dylan, and he doesn't want to put all his eggs in her basket. So he looks over and he sees Amora. He says, you know what? I think I'm going to pull Amora for a chat because I think she's just really, really pretty. And I'm just like, don't do it, boo. Don't do it. She don't want you, boo. If anybody's going to pull for a chat outside of you, it needs to be Carl. That would really create some drama. But it's kind of late in the show for that. And I think Carl knows that, so he's not even going to pursue her. But Carl says, yeah, definitely, you should definitely talk to her. She's beautiful. But then he goes into his conversation that he had with Aniyah last night and how they made out. He said that, he had those walls up, but baby, they just crumbled. They crumbled easily. And I'm like, of course it was, because you got this stallion of a woman sitting next to you and you're a man. And let's be real here. Why do you need to be mad at her because she made a choice? It was a 50-50 chance that you was going to be picked. So you didn't need to be mad with her about that. So now we get a conversation with Kayda and Jen. Kayda tells Jen about what happened last night with Dylan and how he was upset because Kenzie told him that she made out with Gaul in a Speakeasy. And this is where Jen gets a little bit upset, because she's like, if her and Kenzie are supposed to be friends, why is she hearing that from Kayda, not Kenzie? And she says, I don't really think that Kenzie really likes these guys. I think she just likes the attention by 2 men. And Kayda agrees. I'm like, everybody agrees. Everybody. Remember when they were choosing to be who's going to be eliminated, she was a choice because they said she's lustful. And that's exactly what she is. She found she was offended by them saying that, but it's true. And she's worse than Gabrielle. I don't understand how we even comparing Kenzie to Gabrielle. Yeah, Gabrielle kissed 3 people, including Saul. That wasn't even a thing. That was just one little kiss, and he kept it. She didn't like him, and I don't think he liked it, and he kept it moving. He had Bea, Then they got separated and had Jen, and Bea had to leave, and he only experienced Jen after that. How was he lustful? Kenzie is the lustful one. So after that, we know that Jen wants to have a conversation with Kenzie because, again, Kenzie has not told her yet about her kissing Gauls. Now, this conversation made Jen my number one. I'm sorry, because there was no other girl in this villa that was number one for me. Trinity got knocked off. Aniyah in the beginning loved Aniyah, but after a while she got knocked off. Melanie got on my nerves in the beginning to the point that I disliked her, but she slowly started to change me. She would have been my number one, but I just don't like people who see that other people play in their face and they hurt you and they fuck up your energy, but you continue on to be with that person. That really pissed me off, and she definitely wasn't my number one. Kayda, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Kenzie, hell no. Soul would have been my number one number one or two if she stayed in the villa. So Jen is my number one wholeheartedly, especially after this conversation. So she sits Kenzie down, and Kenzie's like, well, I just wanted to let you know that I pulled Gaul for a chat in a speakeasy and we made out. And Jen was like, I already know. The other girls told me. And then she says, so I'm going to read everything she says. So then she goes, so Jen is saying, if you like Dylan so much, why are you going for Gaul? And she says, it's really unfair how you always have to have two guys, but always blindside one. And this is when she's talking about this, she's talking about Caleb. Because remember, she was with Corbin. We voted for her to be with Caleb, but then she really didn't give Caleb a choice. But she was telling Caleb, even though she was telling even though she was telling Caleb, what she was doing with Corbin, she wasn't being fully honest with Caleb and saying, oh, I still want to get to know you. And all the while she really didn't want to, because she was stuck on Corbin. So this is what Jen is saying to her. And then she says, this is where it goes. She goes, I just want to let you know, if we weren't on Love Island, she said, you and I will not be friends. When I tell you Kenzie got so mad at this, I was like, get her, Jen. She deserves to be slapped in her face for the shit that she's doing, because what she's doing is just, is bad. And I'm sorry. This is Love Island. Yes, it's about exploring. But if you at this point and you've dealt with six men since the beginning, and you have yet to find a real connection, you gotta go, bitch. You gotta go. At this point, you're playing games. You gotta go. So after she said that to her, let me see what then Kenzie goes and she goes and says, don't say I'm a bad person. I'm a good person. I'm a good friend. And she said, what she says? She says she feels off of vibes, and that's why she went for Gaul. And then she goes into her confessional and she says she's really upset about what Jen said. Girl, bye. Truth hurts. Too bad. Okay. Nobody else was calling you out on your bullshit. And I'm glad Jen is the one, your so-called best friend, the guy that she was with, the guy that she really liked. And you knew that, but yeah, you still went with him because you had the vibe and you wanted to see it, test it out. What if you did too have the vibe? What was you going to tell Jen? Right. So now we get a conversation with Sincere and Melanie, because Sincere really wants to pick her brain about the conversation between Amora. Obviously, they didn't really have a conversation, her and Amora. She says, Amora just let me know that, you guys did have a conversation, have a connection, but you chose me over her because our connection was more worth it. And then he goes, he's super, super happy. It proceeds on to him showing her sign language. Again, Sincere, you don't really know sign language. Stop. So now we get another conversation with Kenzie and Dylan. She goes in and she complains about Jen, about her chat with Jen. And clearly Dylan is like, okay. But it's true though. You're with me, you're not putting full effort in me. You're gonna go and test stuff with Gaul. Make up your mind. Who do you want to be with? So then after that, we get a conversation with Gaul and Amora, just a basic conversation. He's trying to get to know her, things like that. But we do find out that she's an only child. Gaul lets us know that he studied communications in college. I could have studied communications in college, but I didn't go a step forward. I just have a broadcasting degree. I didn't want to go into too depth in communication because I just didn't care. I just want to be the next Wendy Williams. But anyway, they talk about like odd jobs. She said she was a bikini server, that she got the job off Craigslist. He said he used to work in an oil rig. Next conversation. So now we get Zach telling Kayda. So Zach is now being fully honest with Kayda about what's going on. Not really fully honest, but he's being honest about what he did in Casa Amor with Alana. You know, Kayda gets mad, but let's be real here. All he has to say is, "I want to be with you," and she smiles, and they go about their business. Now it's time for the motherfucking mess, and I'm already 25 minutes in, and let's get into Let's get into movie night. The girls on one side, the boys on one side. They flip a coin. One side says boys, the other side says girls, and there's doors on the screen. You know what's so funny? Love Island really think that them picking a locker, a door is really their choice. They already have a lineup of what's going to be shown and who's going to be shown first, second, third, last, fourth, or whatever. This all was really unnecessary. They should have did it the other way, where you have like the names, like the titles of something, and they pick the title and play it, not the doors. That was stupid. So first things up, the boys pick and they choose door number 6, and it's Zach and Alana reel. So it's showing how, Zach is talking to Alana. They're getting to know one another. They talk, again, that conversation about cats and Marvel, and Kayda over there talking about it's a family cat. It don't matter. It's a cat. And she's getting angry and she's getting upset because she's seeing them cuddling. She's seeing them kissing. And then there's one scene, the scene with the screenshot of them, that's the picture that they sent her. And, it shows Alana saying, like, I really want to go in on this, but I'm hesitant because of your relationship with Kayda. But then she eventually kisses him. They make out. But then they cut to Kayda looking at the picture from the mail envelope, but for the envelope, and her crying. Not sure why they showed that. I'm unsure as to why they show that, but Kayda, she sees everything and she starts to cry. Again, it's repetitive when it comes to Kayda and Zach. She sees that he does little things. She cries. All he has to say is, "I want you," and then she cheers up. And that's exactly what she did here. The same exact thing that she did here. And I said it before in my last video. I don't know why she is crying. I don't know why she is shocked. This man has been telling her, would she be mad if he chose to explore Bombshell? He even said it to her and asked her after they had sex. How is she not picking up that this man set her up? He has been making her feel bad about talking to someone. All the while he's in bed cuddling and kissing. He gets mad at her for talking, but she's supposed to be okay because he explored. How is Kayda not seeing this? How's anybody? Your girl Trinity, how's she not seeing any of this? Trinity loves speaking up for people. Why is she not speaking up for her girl Kayda about this? It's weird. So anyway, after she accepted that, after whatever he has to say, I picked you. You were always, she was never an option. She just sits back. I'm telling you, I'm over them. So now we get the real deal, Holyfield, real. And it is Casey's Casa experience. This is going to be a lot. It is going to be a lot. I'm going to try my best to make sure I get everything. So, the girls pick. I forgot what door they pick. I think it was like number 10 or something, right? And it's Casey's reel. When I tell you Casey's like, cowering into the seat, she is just scared. So they first show Casey having a conversation with Corbin on the couches and calling her grandma. Everybody's like, oh, but then Aniyah goes, well, I mean, I get tired early. And I'm just saying to myself, why is everybody on social media? Because this is it, right? all these Aniyah stans has been getting on Casey saying he's been disrespectful. And the one receipt they have is that he calls her grandma. Y'all are so upset that this man calls her grandma. Mind you, she calls him a grandpa first. So that might be something between them. We don't know because we didn't see their full conversations beginning of the season. But y'all mad that he called her grandma, all the while she's over there laughing, saying, well, I sleep. Well, I do get tired early. She's not even offended by that comment. So after that, they proceed to show again his Casa experience, him and TT in the Casa soul ties, them making out. She's like, wow, that was fast. Aniyah. Didn't you do that with Carl? Same day? That fast? What are you talking about? Yeah, okay. So then it also proceeds to show his conversation with Sydney, him making out with Sydney. Everybody's like, oh my God, he's sitting up there cowering. And TT all over, this TT. Corbin's like, did TT know about you and Sydney? He's like, oh yeah. He's straight. He's straight when it comes to TT. He's very honest with Trinity, with TT. He's good. She's over there smiling. I don't know if she's smiling because she's uncomfortable or it's just crazy to see. Not sure. So then they show him in, I believe it was the dorm. I'm trying to remember who he was laying next to. I don't know if he was laying next to, was he laying next to Amora or Melanie? I don't remember who Sincere was laying next to. It might have been Amora, because I feel like if he said this in front of Melanie, Melanie would have said it to Aniyah. But, you know, Sincere was like, you know, are you going to fix things with Aniyah? And he's like, no. He said, how can I fix past trauma? That's not my responsibility to do. And then he goes in, again, guys, I'm looking at what's been going on. So then he points out his frustrations, and he was at the docks, and I think he was talking to Sincere here too, and he was saying like he can't even fully explore anybody, specifically Soul. He said because Aniyah always cries and she gets upset, and he doesn't want her to get like that. So in order for him for her to not get like that, he just says, you know what, I'm not even gonna explore, which is not him being honest with himself or her, because he doesn't want her feelings. And maybe he should have said something to her. He should have said something to her prior to Casa. Maybe it just have been a little bit easier for him during this time. I don't know. Now that I think about it, he should have been honest with that and how he felt about exploring. Even though he's told her several times that he wants to explore. I think sometimes when Casey, and I said it before, Casey's not very stern on the conversation. He doesn't take very good lead, you know what I mean, in the conversations, and he should have did that, because every time she asked him about exploring Soul, he said he'll go, yeah, and then she'll go in on him. And the conversation, like he said in during movie night, he said every time he has a conversation with her, it doesn't get resolved. And I think if he was a little bit more stern with her, because I'm going to be y'all can take offense to this. I don't think Aniyah is very strong in conversations either. She's just stronger than KC. So if he put his foot down with her about him exploring, maybe all this stuff wouldn't happen. I'm just saying. So then after that, it goes to, where are we? Hold on. So after that, right, we get a clip of Corbin asking KC about TT and Aniyah, and who does he have in common with? And he says he has a lot of things in common with TT. He really likes TT. And we said, what about Aniyah? And he goes, I have nothing in common with Aniyah. And everybody, all the girls is like, what? They're shocked. They're upset. Aniyah obviously looks hurt. And so after that, the reel pretty much ends. Immediately, KC goes in and he wants to apologize to Aniyah. Aniyah is not trying to hear it. She says to him, like, pretty much say what you have to say. She said, you know, you've been very disrespectful to me, and it hurts. Everything that she said, and when I said you were a coward, this is what I was talking about. But again, you just found this out. So that's not what you were talking about. When you were calling him a coward, it's because you didn't think he was aggressive enough in a conversation. He was allowing you to talk over him, and he wasn't sticking up for himself. That's what you meant by calling him a coward. Not because he said those things on the TV. You just learned that. So then you see while she's talking to him, and again, he apologizes to her, and he actually apologizes to all the ladies. You get a cut of Trinity's face, and she is steaming. She goes, let me ask you something. If you felt like you had nothing in common with Aniyah, why didn't you say anything before that? Why did you continue on the relationship? And I'm just saying to myself, should I remember this girl is 22 and she not that bright? Obviously, she's not bright because she's sucking dick in a car with her mother driving. But it's just like, what's going up here? So as they continue to go back and forth with KC, oh, KC, you playing safe, and why'd you do that to her? And I'm like, this girl has been playing safe as well. She's been playing safe as well. KC was her only option. Let's not forget, every time he had a conversation with Soul, she would interrupt. Not because she really likes KC, it's because Soul threatened her position in the villa. Are we going to be honest here? Soul threatened her position in the villa, not her relationship with KC. So Corbin asked them as they're going back and forth, he said, how was KC playing safe? What you mean he isn't playing safe? Look what's on the screen. And he's like, I'm asking a question. Y'all like getting all huff and puffy, but answer the question. And not one of them can answer the question. Not one of them could answer the question. So now we move on to Aniyah's reel, right? In Casa. And it shows her saying like, oh, you know, I'm going to really like explore Casa. I'm going to really enjoy it. It's her talking to Carl and really getting to know Carl. It shows Carl and her making out. When I tell you the boys were sitting over here like, yo, like these girls are straight up hypocrites. Like, what is going on? The girls are like, and the guys are pissed. So after her reel, I think it's Sincere. If it wasn't Sincere, it was Zach. Zach was mad and he was like, I don't understand how you guys are sitting up there. What's the word? It's not hypocrites. It's double standard. How you guys gonna sit up there be mad at KC for doing the same thing Aniyah's doing is real? What? Here comes Kayda. What are you talking about? She wasn't disrespectful. He said, let's be fair. Let's be real here. He said, prior to this, you seeing this today, you didn't know nothing about his relationship with TT. But when the recoupling, y'all hounded him. This is when TT comes in. And she says, that's right. She said, you guys ganged up on him that night, knowing nothing. And says to Aniyah, it didn't matter if this is what she says. Right? Was it her or was it Zach? She said, this is what she says to Aniyah. She said, if it was you who chose Carl and he chose to come back single, the guys wouldn't have ganged up on you how you ganged up on him. And she said, truth be told, even if he picked her or anybody else, you would have still been mad. Then Sincere steps in because they're all ganging up, they're all screaming. And he's like, Aniyah, I fuck with you hard. He said, but what y'all did to him that night, the girls is Trinity and Kayda. He's like, yo, I'm not talking to y'all. I am not talking to y'all. I'm talking to her. What y'all doing is double standard and it's wrong. He was like, what would y'all going to say if they showed your reel first before Casey's? When I tell you these girls are not understanding and not listening to what these people say, and he goes, what would have happened? And they have no answer. I'm trying to remember what. Oh, KC says, what would have happened? He said, but y'all ganged up on him. Something like that. And here comes Kayda and Trinity. And I will fucking do it again. And I'm like, these girls are not listening. They're not having any empathy. And truth be told, their anger has nothing to do with Aniyah and KC. They're deflecting their anger on KC from what other people are doing. when it comes to Trinity, halfway, halfway not, right? Kayda's still mad about Zach or whatever's going on with him and Alana. I don't know why she's not scared, why she's so scared to actually fully confront him on her issues. And then you got Trinity, who actually was an ally for Casey during him and Aniyah's coupling. But after she heard what he said to Bryce, which was incorrect, she has had smoke from him from day one. So her going in on Casey during this movie night had nothing to do with Aniyah. And to prove what he quote unquote said about her and Bryce was fucking wrong. And look at his relationship with Aniyah and how dare he speak on her and Bryce's relationship. That is what the energy she was presenting that night. And this is where another reason why when TT called her a little girl, I agree with it. Trinity is very immature. Because if she truly felt a way about what Casey said, or quote unquote Casey said about her and Bryce, instead of cursing him out and getting on him, why she just didn't pull him to the side? Either her with Casey, just her and Casey, or her, Casey and Bryce to get it resolved. But she didn't want to do that. She wanted to be dramatic and she wanted to get all this smoke to KC, which was dead fucking wrong. Dead wrong. So after all of that, now we get the last reel, and that is the one with Sincere. When I tell you, when he came on that screen with Soul, I was like, fina fucking Lee. They are showing everything that Sincere has been saying to Soul and what he has been saying to Melanie. When I tell you he had everybody in that damn villa flabbergasted, this is where I had a lot more empathy for Melanie. Even though I'm not a big fan of her, I think she's stupid to continue on with him. She still has hope for him. And I did not like the fact that she sat there silent, breaking down. And the fact that he sat there and he was only concerned about how he looked on the television and how much he was busted. The way she looked was so sad. And I'm going to say this right now. Aniyah is not her friend. Aniyah is not her true friend, and I need Melanie to open her eyes. Melanie has stood up for Aniyah in the last couple of days with KC. And while she's sitting there in silence, asking her to hold her hand, watching that shit on the screen, and Aniyah's in her fucking ear with her stupid ass commentary. Oh shit, that don't look good, Sincere. Oh, why are you saying those things in your friend's ear when you just go like this? Like what she likes to do, go like this and just see that she is breaking down. She's asking you to hold her because she's shaking. And you in her fucking ear saying this stuff. Aniyah is not her fucking friend, and neither is Kayda and fucking Trinity. What killed me, and I didn't realize this, what killed me in that clip is when he was talking to Melanie and called her beloved. And then it cut to him calling Soul beloved. Sincere, you is motherfucking diabolical. You are diabolical. You are so fucked up. It's not even funny how fucked up you are for all of that. I don't understand why he continues to mislead Melanie. I don't know if he's just doing it because he's scared to lose her, or is he playing the game? It's crazy. So after the reel stops, then he starts to explain himself and pretty much says what he says to her is not necessarily misleading. What other words did he say to her? He said the words that he said have no meaning. And you are absolutely correct. And she's just sitting there and saying, why continue to pursue me and to say I'm it if you have all these other connections with Soul, when you had a connection with Soul or the connection with Demora. All the while they're having this conversation, Aniyah, Kayda, and Trinity are silent. They literally allow Sincere to speak his piece, and for Melanie to rebuttal without saying anything. And I don't understand how they can do that for Aniyah. Maybe because it had, like I said before, it has nothing to do with Aniyah. It's just all the smoke that they wanted to give KC for whatever their reasons are in deflecting. But why didn't they stick up for Melanie? Melanie can hold her own. That's a given. But that's your friend breaking down over there. And you guys said nothing. You had no smoke for him. I don't understand how these people can give so much grace to someone who's so diabolical, who has broken this girl down where she's never smiling. But you give all this smoke to KC because he's voicing his frustration about what's going on with him and Aniyah. He's told Aniyah several times, which, by the way, she has not mentioned to them, that they were open and they were exploring. Or he chose TT. Y'all going in on somebody over a rocky relationship. Even though Melanie and Sincere is obviously rocky, they seemed a little bit more solid than Casey and Aniyah. But y'all had no smoke for Sincere. But that ends the episode. It ends the episode, but there is a part 2 to movie night, which we'll catch up in episode 26. You guys, what are your thoughts on this episode? Y'all let me know down in the comment section. Like if you like the video, subscribe if you like to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in episode 26. That's your dose of drama for this week's reality report. The show may end, but the drama never. Catch you next time for more chaos, more tea, and more reality.